Welcome back, everyone, to the reaction end of Action Reaction with me, Zane Simon, and my ever-loving co-hosts, Troy O'Diamonds.
Woo!
What? Oh, God. Why woo? Why woo?
Well, then you introduced me. That's what I do.
Okay. That's your thing now?
That's my thing. I woo when I'm introduced.
Yeah,
Expect that on every single episode. So either you got to mute me, or that's just a thing that I'm doing now.
Do we need like MST3K style catchphrases? Be like, we're all out of toner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do the production for this, so put in the laugh track where you feel relevant.
Okay. I will put it over all of your parts. It'll just be me.
Series of you talking and people laughing in response to it.
Yeah. That will be the whole show from here on out.
All right, so guys, we are rebranding. This is Zane Simon's Laughcast.
That's right. So many good jokes, everyone. You're going to love them. Cue laughter. All right. So we're talking about we're here to talk briefly our reaction to our Hidden Identities movies, for which you threw a movie called The Guest at me.
Yep.
And I threw a movie called The Hidden at you. And
oh boy, did you.
Yes, I did. I want to start out talking about The Guest because I'll admit, even though you kind of prefaced me on this, the idea that this movie would sneak up on me a little, it still snuck up on me a little.
Okay, so I guess first question, at scale of 1 to 10, how accurate was I in saying this movie is your shit?
6.
Okay.
So the biggest reason, the only reason that it's a 6 is I don't like kids in movies.
I was gonna say it's that dipshit kid, isn't it?
It is.
The worst part of the movie.
Yeah. They always drag a movie down. Like, they just do. I mean, I realize his problems are legit. He's getting bullied. That sucks. It gives the hero a whole... Well, not hero. It gives the insane person a bunch of motivation. But...
hold on, Zane. Respect the troops.
Yeah, we're shooting this too close to Memorial Day for... Oh, Lord. But, I respect that the child in this movie gives the hero some crazy motivation, or gives, I keep calling him the hero, which is probably a bad thing. It probably reflects really poorly on me that having seen the whole movie, I think of him as the hero.
Right, he's the super soldier, and he's American, and he's hot, and you're like, yeah, that's a hero.
Yeah, exactly. The kill crazy super soldier motivation, but I'm like, I don't give a shit about your high school problems, kid. I don't, and I won't.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my one drawback. Otherwise, I love the soundtrack. I love the federal agent actor whose name I'm blanking on now.
Yeah, he did a really good job. I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Guy from John Wick who plays the desk clerk, and he's in everything whenever they need a federal agent or a guy who looks stern. Lance Reddick.
That's the guy.
He is the stern man in every movie where they need a stern man.
Yeah, a stern composed man.
Yeah, a stern composed person. I love him. I kind of think of the main actor guy, who I'm terrible at, keeping names in mind for this, but...
Yeah, it's worth noting that this is the first movie that I think either of us have done where we fully stuck with character names through it, because I don't remember any of these actors' names for more than like half a second. I already forgot the name of the guy you just looked up.
So the main guy, Dan Stevens, in my like the whole time I was watching this movie, I kept thinking of him as Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's accurate.
Like a slightly skinnier, slightly less charming Ryan Gosling, who is basically just out there to recreate a Ryan Gosling character.
Yeah, that's real. He's the Rena Gosling.
Yeah, the Ryan Gosling. Like he was good. He was fun. I liked his character. It was weird to see the dude who I only remember from playing like random bit comedy roles in horrible 90s and like 2000s comedies is like the gun dealer or the stoner like gun hookup guy.
Right. Yeah.
He that guy being in this movie, he's got Joel David Moore. He's got a really like fancy profile pic on IMDb that makes him look like a much more respectable actor than he is, than a dude that I think of from like My Name is Earl and Art School Confidential.
Right.
uh,
And I think like the names that you're going through right here really speak to the budget of this movie.
yeah,
Like this was definitely an indie production. This was definitely a labor of love from the writer and director who collaborated before and since.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, they really scrapped together a pretty decent movie out of a low budget. And again, at best, a rental version of Ryan Gosling to
Yeah.
hold it together.
So they had a kicking soundtrack. Soundtrack is awesome. I loved I loved all the setting of like the Halloween maze school thing. Like that worked really well.
Right.
Some of the emotional notes didn't quite land as well as they should have. Like where he's just, especially when he's like capping the family. I'm just a little like, did we really like build up all this emotional connection to these family characters just for them to get like shot in the head where he's like going kill crazy? But I still liked him going kill crazy.
Yeah, I almost felt like that was kind of intentional, where I don't remember the name of the mom or the dad. I don't remember either of them have any clearly defining characteristics or personality traits that weren't completely malleable. Like to me, they felt like people who were there to be like, oh no, he's starting the rampage. He's rampaging now.
Yeah, they were very much built into this role of like, you are going to connect and feel with these people because their son died and they're grieving. And that's like their main character, is that their son died and they're grieving. So you're automatically going to connect to them a little, and they're going to be there for like an hour, and then they're just going to get shot. And they're there for you to just give that first emotional tie to be like, oh, he killed crazy now.
Right. It's just letting you know. It's a really good job of ramping it up. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, how much did you really care about either of those characters? And then, like, did your heart start racing a little bit when he was closing in on getting Anna? Or, like, she's, like, the only rational person in the whole movie.
Yeah, it definitely it was a fun movie overall. Like by the end of it, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of it along the way. It's a little uneven. Like the writing is kind of hit and miss. Like I say, the kid is just the distraction. But overall, it's a much more, like I say, it still snuck up on me. Even knowing that it would be fun and more fun than I expected, I was still watching it along the way. I was like, this feels kind of like low budget and like a throwaway movie, and then it's like, oh no, this is actually really pretty fun and well done, and I'm enjoying it all along the way.
Yeah. I think that's really, like, the most ringing endorsement you can give it. I mean, would you recommend that our audience spend the time on it?
Oh yeah, I would tell anybody to watch it. It's a fun a fun action thriller. A well done thriller about. This is what I will say. The
All right.
ending saves this movie.
That twist definitely helps.
It really makes this movie something I would recommend. And if they'd done it 20 minutes earlier or like an hour earlier and then kept the movie going from there, I would be like head over heels about this. If like that twist had come in the middle of the movie and then they just kept going with like some weird new direction, I would be all over this movie forever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to start a Kickstarter for them to spend more than like, I don't know, however, like 6 figures at most that they got on this movie, then I am 100% in for The Guest too.
Yeah, the ending is really, budget was apparently $5 million, but
What? Really?
yeah,
Oh,
that's
damn.
estimated.
Okay. Well,
But
made shit back. That wasn't a good
yeah, it made
investment.
$322,000 back.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That's rough.
worth it for the art.
Yeah, worth it for a really fun idea that is a lot more fun than you'd expect, and I love the ending, and I thought that really pulled together exactly what I wanted this movie to be, and that it wasn't quite enough of, but it was still like at the end you're like, there it is. That's what we're supposed to be really getting out of this.
Right. We get a very localized, small story with a super soldier just rampaging through, like, again, an 80s phantasmagoria. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It really, the whole like weird failed science experiment angle is really what pulls it along in the end. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And for context, assuming that $5 million budget figure is accurate, if that estimate is correct, um, for the price of one Point Break reboot, you could get 55 of these. So, I mean,
Yeah, that
sorry,
Point Break.
21,
I'm never gonna
21 of
watch
these.
that Point Break reboot. I can't
No,
do
it's
it.
fucking miserable.
I would never put myself through that. So, yeah, overall, The Guest, especially kicking soundtrack, good ending, fun, lots of action. I loved some of the settings. I'm in there. I'm with it. It was a fun movie. I would tell anybody to check it out, especially if they're looking for more fun action movies they might have missed to watch. It's the kind of movie that like it probably is on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and like
Yeah, because
every
the rights to
platform.
it cost like $1 a year or something.
Yeah, like it's probably on every streaming platform. And if you're like, I have nothing to watch and the only thing I do is watch things on streaming platforms, you could do amazingly worse than this.
All right. Yeah, and what is this? What's this show about besides finding good action movies for people to waste their time on?
So, on that note, then, The Hidden.
Oh boy, The Hidden. What a goddamn movie this is, Zane.
Tell me
oh my God.
Tell me, Troy, that it's not a masterpiece.
Oh, it is beautiful. It's amazing. I spent like I didn't know if I was like laughing or just trying to collect my jaw off the floor the entire time I was watching this. It's ridiculous.
That movie, like I said, that's a movie that makes it. It angers me that people have not told me. They didn't tell me about The Hidden. Anyone who knew about that movie did not immediately. The first thing they did was like, you got to go watch this movie. It pisses me off.
Yeah, as soon as this episode goes live, I am sending it to every person I know and love, just so that they can understand. Like, okay, it is worth it. It is worth your time to watch this batshit insane movie about an alien parasite that's just murder hungry, and he rules. He's like a version of me with a slightly lower understanding of consequences. And like you said, the end of The Guest sounded like GTA 3 when I was describing it, but this alien is literally exactly how I played Vice City.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? I love it. The scene where he like pulls up he's going by and he sees the dude like talking to some woman in a fancy car, and he immediately like pulls up and like tries to pick up some chick. And it just everything about that movie is gorgeous.
It's ridiculous. It's amazing. And So you mentioned how a lot of the time, a lot of this movie is this guy like just listening to 80s like pop thrash, like the poppier side of late
Yeah.
80s thrash metal. And I was really looking forward to that. And I just got to say, the soundtrack to The Hidden is my new fuck tape.
Yeah.
It's so good. I actually looked it up. It costs $99 on Amazon, and I really spent a lot of time looking at my credit card, being like, "Oh, do I do it? Do I pay for this soundtrack?" It's poppy and fast and not like heavy, but it's metal and just bonkers, man.
Yes. I don't understand how that movie got made because it is like it seems like it's too good to have been made by anyone.
Yeah, I don't know how like this got through without specifically being like a very self-aware thing where if you're trying to describe what might be your favorite scene, might be my favorite scene, you start with, so the alien possessed stripper pulls out an assault rifle and starts a gunfight in the mannequin warehouse.
Yeah.
That is the least insane way I can describe that scene. That's the tame version of it.
Yes.
What the fuck is this movie? It's besides the best thing.
When he's sitting at the bar and he's just like leaking blood out of his arm and he's got this huge bag of guns next to him and
Yeah,
like trying to convince the bartender that he's okay.
yeah. And one thing about that scene is apparently white women did not have asses before at least 1990 because those were the flattest assed strippers I have ever seen.
Oh, everything about that movie is amazing. So, which version of the alien is your favorite version of the alien? Is
The dog.
it the dog?
It's the dog. It is
It's the dog.
100% the dog. I had to pause the movie. Out of all the insane things that happen in this, the things that we've already talked about, the point where I had to pause it was watching this dog look at itself in the mirror and then just make weird little facial tics. I think I was literally crying just looking at how they shot that. And it's just an alien possessed dog that doesn't really know what to do with itself.
Oh, it's so. There's, and the thing that really gets me too is that you expect at some point that a movie like that, like I said, I don't understand how it got made because you expect watching it like, okay, this is going to fall off the rails at some point. It's going to get less glorious. It's going to be a bad part that I just have to sit through or like some crap. And it just builds and builds and builds until like the ending is the coolest shit. And
Yeah, I barely want to say that this had rails to go off of. Like
yeah.
it wasn't ever on rails. It was maybe like a maglev train that never really touched the rails, and that just let it go so much goddamn faster.
So here's my question, and I hate doing this because I didn't spoil the end of The Guest because that really I think the movie depends on that twist in a way for me, like that really kind of sells it for me.
Yep.
The Hidden, it does not depend on the ending. But
No, not at all.
Here's the question. How do you think that the ending is supremely fucked up in the hospital?
In what way?
In that it suggests that what he really did is he just took over his partner's body to keep being that guy and give his wife and kids somebody to love.
Oh, I actually didn't pick that up. I was all amped up on adrenaline from everything else. I need to watch this movie again, which I'm happy to do.
Yes! Because he goes like, the guy dies, his partner dies,
Right.
and he goes and he puts himself he gives his partner life, but the way like the way the other alien works and the way he worked, because remember he didn't get like he gets that body off of a dead cop in a forest fire. So if the alien became that cop when the cop died and he transfers over to his partner, are we supposed to believe that his partner is now just like fine and okay and alive again? No.
I totally missed that. Oh, that is pretty fucked up. I like it.
Isn't it?
And well, that kind of ties into one of my favorite things that happens in sci-fi movies is or like Body Snatcher or Alien movies is, you know, can an alien convince us that it is a human?
Mm-hmm.
How gullible are we like that? And if that's the way that we're supposed to read that ending, then oh my god, it is leaning hard into that. Because like earlier in the movie, he doesn't understand how to swallow an Advil,
Yeah.
but and he just does a bunch of weird things that tip you off that he's abnormal. But nobody reacts like he's an alien. Like
Yeah.
we're very dumb and sociable creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And also, kind of going in with that trope, when the evil alien is possessing the stripper, and then there's the guy like just hitting on her, being like, "Want to see my car?" Like just being really creepy, but like alien stripper isn't acting like a human in any way. It's just like stone face blank.
Yeah.
But this guy is just like, yeah, let's go to my car. Let's fuck up. It just reminds me of like there are studies that have been done about like what a chicken will recognize as another chicken, and like a rooster will try to fuck a stick with a chicken head on it because it's like close enough. And to me, that's what this scene was. Is like, yeah, no, that's our head on a stick. Is a stripper who doesn't really say anything.
I love too the idea that the only reason she went with the guy is because she saw the Ferrari jacket and thought that he had a Ferrari. And
Right.
then you like get to his car and it's this piece of shit.
Yeah.
And she kills him anyway.
Because why not?
Everything about that movie is
That
so.
movie is crazy. And
I would-
also, okay, so this is something that stuck with me from the start of the movie is the hero alien guy.
Mhm.
Maybe it's how he looked and maybe it's kind of how he acted, but he just keeps reminding me of Keanu in The Devil's Advocate. Which again, to be fair, like if that's another character only like semi-successfully impersonating human behavior.
It's true. Keanu's entire career is a character semi-successfully imitating human behavior.
Right. It's either a neutral mask or like there's something alien about this person.
Yeah. No, that's Kyle MacLachlan too. He's got that same kind of thing about him. That's just what he brings.
Okay.
But I wanted to mention. I forgot in the guest. I wanted to mention my favorite part of that movie, hands down.
Okay, let's hear it.
It sucks because, like I said, I kind of feel like I prefaced this wrong because I talked about not liking the kid, but the kid does give the best access to dialogue in that movie. And when David, the guest, our murder super soldier, pseudo not hero but kind of hero, goes up to him and he's like telling him about like not to be bullied, and he's like, if they hit you, hit them back, and if they beat you up,
Yes.
then bring a knife to school, and if they take it off you and beat you up, you go around their houses at night and burn them down with their families inside. What's the worst that can happen?
I love that line. That is the point where you're like, oh no, this guy.
It's the what's the worst they can do? That's the
Yeah, like what do you have to lose?
yeah.
Probably things,
A
you
lot of things.
non-human.
that one part, that is like the dialogue moment that movie really hits it out of the park on.
Yeah. And it also does kind of set up like the rest of the movie. That's
Yep.
why that dipshit kid explains that his sister is looking into things, and now everyone's a loose end that needs to get tied up.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have any favorite dialogue moments in The Hidden?
Oh man, I'm sure I wrote something down. Oh yeah, the best is I think it's before the stripper assault rifle in a mannequin factory scene, where the alien is about to go in after him, and his partner goes, "I'll cover you. I'd be safe. I'd be safer if you didn't." Just like that whole exchange. It's like that's some shit. Like, yeah, that's some shit that Joss Whedon saw and then has never stopped trying to recreate.
Oh, it's wonderful. Like I don't. That's one of those like inspired action moments, because every action movie it has that like "I'll cover you," and it's like, all right, man. It's like, I'll cover you. Like, I'd rather you. I'd be safer if you didn't cover me.
Right. And like at that point in the movie, it was pretty obvious that this guy was probably an alien. Mm-hmm. And when he says that, I'm thinking in my head, like, he's thought this through. He knows more. He's right, probably. And then eventually Cave's just like, okay, you can cover me.
Fine. That's all fine. It's fine.
Yeah. That, so good. I love this movie.
Yeah, I also love the scene with like the whole thing in the car when they're like first driving to the first crime scenes, and he's like, "Can you, he's like, can you read?" Or he's like, he's talking about the crime. I was like, "Oh, do you read minds?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I do." Like, you can read my mind right now. It's like, "Yeah, you think I'm?" He's like, "What am I thinking right now? You're thinking I'm full of shit."
Yeah, I love that exchange because like, it just from the start like establishes this guy is a weirdo. The human doesn't believe him, but even on a rewatch, you recognize that when he says like, "Well, it wasn't hard to read." It's like, well, maybe he did literally just read the guy's mind. It could be that.
To the whole connection of like the stolen sports cars and all that. It's just.
Oh my God, the white suit cocaine out of the toy Ferrari guy. Oh, that's amazing. I love that guy. He reminds me of, I was talking to a lawyer for the first time ever, not for my case. This was unrelated. And it was like a professional setting. It's the first time I've met this guy, and he talks about how he does coke with his clients in his office. And like, this is stuff he's volunteering to me in the first 30 minutes of knowing the guy. Oh. And I just picture like he was this dude in the white suit buying a sports car, doing blow in a car dealership in 1987.
Absolutely.
Just never grew out of it. And you know what? God bless him, man. God bless Coke Lawyer.
All right. Well, I think we got to wrap up our reaction show, but I'm glad that you loved The Hidden because...
Oh boy, did we react.
Yes, The Hidden is beautiful, and The Guest was fun. I enjoyed it. It is a really solid thriller that deserves a better place out there than, like, it deserves to be as well rated by critics as it was, and the fact that it's underrated by audiences just means that people are jaded and assholes.
And it's crazy because even me, with my taste in movies, I really love it enough to still remember it like 3 years later.
It's a good time. So on that note, you can find me on Twitter at @DZaneSimon. You can find Troy on Twitter at PDLMMA, and we will be back in just a few days with our next theme, which is what?
I believe we are talking about childhood trauma and the way that can shape someone's life.
Man, that's such a downer.
It's a downer, but we have to address it. Like the world, it comes with highs, it comes with lows, and sometimes brutality will visit people upon a young age, and we need to examine how that brutality will follow them.
Do we really?
Yeah, because I picked it, and you let me pick stuff.
Ugh, fuck. All right, next time, childhood trauma. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you in just a few days.
Bye, everybody.